Hey, thanks for dropping in. My family doesn't often eat hot and spicy food. In fact, my daughter Nova has zero tolerance for it at all, and T's idea of hot and spicy is a dab of wasabi on her sushi. As for me, I'm by no means a chili head, but I do enjoy it more than they do. And tonight I felt like making something with a bit of kick. So I'm making firecracker beef. Now, if you search online, you'll probably find about a dozen different recipes for firecracker beef. Some call for ground beef, others whole cuts. There's various veg used. Broccoli is pretty common, as are carrots and beans. Then there's different spicing ingredients. Some like to use fresh chilies, others sriracha, or even buffalo sauce. The version I'm making right now is just my own interpretation of what this dish should be. And as you can see, it begins with a few veg, namely celery, red pepper, and button mushrooms, all prepped as if I were making any other stir fry. Next, there's a couple of stir fry staples. There's one whole onion, sliced into thinnish strips, and 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, just roughly chopped. Now we get to the firecracker part of the recipe, which will be provided by this jar of sambal oelek. Sambal oelek is an Indonesian condiment whose name translates to ground chili sauce. And that's perfect because that's basically what it is, ground chilies along with a bit of vinegar and some salt. Varieties can also include things like ginger, shallot, and lime. Taste-wise, it has some similarities to sriracha, except it's more chili forward and less sweet. It's also different in appearance, as you can see here, and looks more like a salsa than a sauce. Like I said at the start, this recipe is my version of firecracker beef, and I like the more pure heat that sambal brings to the party. The rest of the firecracker sauce will be made up of some light soy sauce, a bit of toasted sesame oil, and apologies for the terrible lighting, I will work on that for the next video, and some brown sugar. And that's it. This recipe is as simple as it is delicious. Of course, the one ingredient we can't do without is beef. And I'm using my favorite cut for stir fry, the flank steak. I threw this into the fridge for about 30 minutes just to firm it up and make it easier to slice. I don't want to make this too thin. I want enough meat to really grab onto the sauce, but I don't want it too thick either, or it could get tough to eat. About 1/4 to 1/3 thickness is perfect. Once it's all sliced, I'll toss it with a bit of salt and pepper and set it aside. Alright, before I get to the actual cooking, I'm just going to take a minute to prepare my sauce. So in goes a sambal oelek, about 2 heap teaspoons. This will give heat, but not too much. I know the recipe is called firecracker beef, but this version will be more of a ladyfinger than a cherry bomb. After that comes a 1/4 cup of light soy sauce. Then a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And finally a splash of toasted sesame oil. This all gets stirred up, then I'm ready to cook. So the first thing I need to do is heat up some veg oil in a wok on high heat. To that, I'll add all the veg. What I want to see happen is for celery and pepper to cook down just a little, and for the mushrooms to give off their water. To help things along, I'll add some salt as well as a bit of pepper. This will take a couple minutes. Okay, the veg are looking pretty good, so I can take them all out. Next up is the meat. I'll fry these off until there's no more pink. And I'll do them in batches too, to try to prevent too much liquid from pooling in the wok. So in goes batch 1. And out comes batch 1. In goes batch 2. And this time I'm not removing the meat. Instead, I'll return the first batch and add onions. I'll let this fry until the onions soften. The onions have softened a bit, so I can add the garlic. I'll let this go until the garlic becomes aromatic, so about a minute or so. Everything looks to be about where I want it, so all the veg can go back into the wok. I can also add my firecracker sauce at this time. Now, there is enough sugar in that sauce that it should thicken up a bit on its own, simply by simmering for a few minutes. But I'm going to speed things along with a slurry. This is just a standard cornstarch slurry that I'm adding. A heaped teaspoon of cornstarch and a few tablespoons of cold water stirred together. This will give almost instant silkiness and body to the sauce, and also help to prevent overcooking. I just need to let it do its thing for a minute. And here it is, my version of firecracker beef, with a sauce made from sambal oelek. So what do we have? We have tender, juicy, meaty strips of beef. We have slices of mushroom, adding even more meatiness. We have silky chunks of red pepper. And we have a little texture provided by the celery. And coating all of it, like a warm, delicious blanket, is firecracker sauce that's spicy, sweet, savory, and completely irresistible. A total winner of a dish. Thanks for watching. This is one of my favorite recipes, so I hope you enjoyed watching me make it. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons to show your support. And if you're interested in seeing some extra behind-the-scenes photos, the Instagram is up and running. Please check it out. The link's on my profile page. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.